everyone, welcome to the GrandLAN video blog for books that came out on November 18th, 2009. As always, I'm Craig, your host. We got 9 books to talk about in one installment, so we're going to fly right through. First of all, of course, I know I plugged Blue Goblin last week, but congratulations to Blue, who got a writing gig at a blog, and I'm trying to remember where exactly it is. Follow Blue's Twitter, he'll tell you where it is. Something really awesome. Congratulations, Blue, that's sweet. So anyways, 9 books this week, and look forward to next week when there's going to be like 18,000. What a Christmas or a Thanksgiving miracle, right? Amazing Spider-Man 612, that's what it is, 612. Whew. It's been a rough morning. Amazing Spider-Man 612 starts the gauntlet. Mark Waid does a great job of laying out where we're going. I don't think that necessarily all of the twists and turns obviously are quite known just yet in the world of solicits. You know, that happens a lot, but I think there's going to be a really interesting trip down this way. Absolutely very fun book. Paul, as I said, his art is really good. And the Black Cat backup story by Joe Kelly was, wow, it was very interesting. The art was something new, but well worth the extra $1. I think this is a fantastic $4 book. There's a very nice start to the Gauntlet story, and the hype behind the Gauntlet is there. It's just, you know, we have to see it. We have to, you know, it's going to be big. So hopefully it's going to pay off in that sense. So even nothing else, it's nice to see Elektra rejuvenated like this story does with Mark Waid's writing. And the Black Cat backup story is very good as well. Definitely worth the $4. Next up, Batman Streets of Gotham, number 6. Number 6, look at that, I guessed. Chris Yost wraps up his 2-parter here with Dustin Nguyen on art, and wow, this is a fun story. Huntress and Man-Bat. This is what I expected out of Streets of Gotham. It really is a what if there was just a series about Gotham, you know, and it feels like the Batman animated series, you know, a bunch of characters randomly showing up, something going on, but there's a twist and you don't quite know what it is just yet, and when it happens, you go, man, that was a good story. It's a good 2-part story, number 5 and number 6. Chris Yost, big ups, man, big ups. I don't normally prop Chris Yost. I say that every time I pay him a compliment. I say, I don't normally pay Chris Yost a compliment, but congratulations, Chris Yost, compliment. Well, it's starting to become the norm that I compliment Chris Yost and start recognizing his good writing. Manhunter as well. The last issue was a great jumping on point, not only for Streets of Gotham, but also for the Manhunter backup feature. And already, second issue of the backup feature, you know, jumping on point, great start. So fantastic stuff from the Batman Streets of Gotham team. One of the best Batman books right now. Dark Reign, The List, Amazing Spider-Man came out, and that ended Dark Reign, The List. Congratulations that it's all over, because what is this? Adam Kubert's art suffers. Dan Slott's writing is okay. It's an all right story, but you know what? If you're going to make a series of 8 one-shots and there's going to be this big deal about what's going on and how everything's going to unfold, you should at least have a little more punch. I mean, the Punisher story was important, and then this one is just kind of like lackluster. Normally I like Spider-Man stories, but there's just so much build behind that. The List and Norman Osborn, Spider-Man, you know, and this is going to change everything and nothing will be the same. Okay, fine, nothing's the same ever again, but you know what? You can tell 1,000 Marvel stories in this nothing will ever be the same universe that you could have told in the other one, and it's not that important. G-Man Cape Crisis number 4. You know, it's slipping my mind whether I've reviewed the first 3, but I've read the first 3 and it's fantastic. I feel that it really is worth noting because Chris Giarrusso is doing a great job here. If you're missing his work on the mini Marvels in favor of the Superhero Squad, which is fart jokes for 4-year-olds, this is a really fun superhero story and really good mentality approaching it. Just a simple aesthetic to approaching the whole story. You know, some things happen and funny things are said, but it is still at its core a superhero story. I know some kids who are reading this book, and I feel that it's an incredible book for them to read because it is a superhero story. It's not just soft, you know, it's not just let's run around and do, you know, funny little things and have funny scenes happen. They're actually facing a threat to their superheroing and they have to respond. Funny things happen along the way, but it's still a structured superhero story without being too dark, without talking over the kids' heads. Great book, and adults can enjoy it too. G-Man Cave Crisis by Image Comics. Great stuff. Luke McBain #1 came out from 12 Gauge Comics, and that features the likeness of Trace Adkins and a lot of Trace Adkins ads in the middle. Now, I don't listen to country music anymore. I used to, and I've got respect for, you know, the old country like Trace Adkins and the people that aren't turning out the pop country like Carrie Underwood. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This is a comic book review, and this is a comic book about Luke McBain, the badass Texan type of character carrying an axe handle and beating up street thugs. And in that sense, it's a fantastic story. The writing is well done. The art is great. And I really bought this and thought, or, you know, picked it up and thought, it's probably not going to work. It's probably going to be a car wreck, you know. Let's just watch it and see how bad it gets. But I'm wrong. This is a fun book. It's a great book. It's very serious. It's not all about, you know, driving home the marketing juggernaut that is Trace Adkins. It's just a great, you know, badass Western type of story. Very, very good stuff. You know, modern Western, obviously. It's not, you know, cowboys and stuff. But, you know, grizzled characters, and he's got a brother, and his brother's kind of a jerk, and he's got to, you know, be gruff, and he got out of prison and all this. But it's good anti-hero, you know, interesting drama. And it's going to be overlooked by so many people. So check it out. It's fantastic. $3.99. Come on. That's what everybody's charging nowadays for a good book, you know? It deserves to be right next up there with Incognito and Criminal and books that are cerebral. And Stumptown, which we reviewed recently. Great cerebral thriller. And it's not from big name creators. It's not from big name artists. And it features a country singer's likeness. Who knew? Punisher #11, Frankencastle starts. Rick Remender jumps on with Tony Moore. Tony Moore, of course, famous for doing a lot of DC stuff. I remember his work on The Exterminators, which I hated. I absolutely hated, despite the store that I worked at the time, pretty much everybody loving it. And we sold a ton of copies, and I was like, really? This is so bad. Rick Remender's idea of the Punisher is kind of goofy and funny now with his Frankenstein story and how he's dealing with his new status. And it's an interesting psychological twist to the Punisher. As my boss said, who read this, you know, it's more interesting than seeing the Punisher just shoot people all the time. It definitely takes the character into new ground and tells some interesting stories. Tony Moore's art really makes it suffer, though. It's very cartoony. It's kind of Richard Corbin-esque in some spots, and it just doesn't work as well as Richard Corbin would work on a horror story. But still, a decent book. Not bad if you're following this new development for Punisher. It's kind of middle of the road. You know, don't go out of your way to get it if you're not reading it, but don't drop it if you do want to read it. Thunderbolts 138. Scourge takes command. The Jeff Parker era begins. Tiny Titans #22. There's not much to say about this book if you're not reading it. It's fun, it's cute, it's definitely more geared towards kids. I've seen a little bit of a quality drop in terms of the adult jokes. Like, the adult jokes recently have kind of dropped off, and there's not a lot to really make fun of. There was an issue where we made fun of the Blackest Night, where all the lights were burned out in Wayne Manor, and there was the battle for the cowl when the cowl was stuck on the cow's head. And it's ever since then, it's kind of just spinning its wheels, but it's doing what it does in an entertaining way for children. So while there are better issues of Tiny Titans, this is still a good one. The kids will still like it. The adults will flip through it and go, huh, that's cute. You know, the Elastic Man and Elongated Man or Plastic Man and, you know, the Elastic Four or whatever they're called, they show up here. So it's kind of fun and cute little goofy things going on. Lastly, Victorian Undead #1 from Wildstorm. Ian Eddington writing a Sherlock Holmes versus zombies. This idea should just sell this book alone, but unfortunately, when I flipped through it, the presentation just wasn't there. It was very wordy and real tough to penetrate. I was pretty much disappointed with this book. It could have been much better. I know he's kind of launching where he's going. You know, it's going to be, got to set it up, but it's still, this should have been a lot more accessible of a first issue. It's going to be disappointing. And at first I thought, okay, DC's involved, maybe it's going to be Vertigo-like, but then they put the Wildstorm logo on it, so then I know Wildstorm instead of Vertigo, which is a shame. Could have been a Vertigo book, could have even been one of those non-continuity DC books like The Mighty and told a really interesting story, but it looks like it's just not going to pay off. I think that's a very lackluster first issue. So that's it for this installment. Again, thanks for watching. Join us next week when there's going to be a ton of stuff to talk about over Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching.